In this lecture, we will discuss about Iron Age civilization in India. As already we have discussed the prehistory civilizations and in particularly the Bronze Age civilizations like the Mesopotamia or Sumerian civilization, the Egyptian civilization, the Indus Valley civilization and the Chinese civilization. So, in this lecture, we will discuss about Iron Age civilizations and in particularly about India. So, in the very introduction, we will discuss about the arrival of the Indo-Aryans. Then we will go to the 6th century BC and the Mahajanapadas or the 16 kingdoms and republics developed during 6th century BC. So, in particularly the Indo-Aryans arrival, in that context in India, Iron Age began is about 1000 BC. It is after this period that the plains of the Ganga, Jamuna, Doab were settled on. It is believed that iron implements were used in clearing the thick jungles in the Gangetic plains and was used for tilling the hard soil. The material remains of the early Iron Age in India do not indicate a high level of culture. However, around 500 BC forecast we found the establishment of many urban centers. Some of these later grew into powerful empires. So, in particularly, it is about 2000 BC. Migration of people who perhaps originally inhabited the Caspian Sea region began to different parts of Europe and Asia. These people are called Indo-European speaking people as they spoke languages belonging to the Indo-European family of languages. They are also known as Aryans. A branch of these people called Indo-Aryans came to India around 1500 BC. Their occupations were cattle raising and agriculture, and they had no experience with urban culture. Some historians believe that they were responsible for the destruction of the Harappan culture or the Mohenjo-daro urban culture. The Aryans lived in tribes and spoke Sanskrit, which is a language of the Indo-European group. They worshipped the forces of nature like the god of rain and thunder, Indra of wind, Vayu, and sun, the Surya. These gods gave rain, so the people believed, ripened their crops and helped to defeat enemies. Hymns in praise of these gods are found in the Rig Veda. Punjab was the first permanent home of the Aryans in India. The hymns of the Rig Veda were composed there. From Punjab, they moved eastward and spread all over the Gangetic Valley and moved southward as far as the Vindhya Mountains. Later, they went to other parts of India. They intermarried with the local inhabitants, and the Indian culture that began to develop was a mixture of the elements of Vedic and pre-Vedic cultures. When the Aryans settled in India, they were divided into a number of small tribes which fought with one another and the indigenous people in course of time small states were formed which were ruled by kings or aristocracies. By the 6th century BC, larger states, both kingdoms and republics, developed, and these were the 16 Mahajanapadas. So, now we would like to discuss the very development of these 6 Mahajanapadas. So, among these 6 important Mahajanapadas, we will discuss those kingdoms or monarchical states that developed, such as we found the Kashi monarchy, the Kosala monarchy, Anga, Magadha, Chedi, Basja, Avanti, and in particularly the first one, that is the kingdom of Kashi or Varanasi, derived its name from 2 rivers, the Varuna and the Asi, which flowed through it. It was originally a big kingdom extending to the limit of nearly 12 leagues. The Buddhist Jatakas refer to the ancient greatness of Kashi and its rivalry with Kosala and Anga. Ultimately, the country was conquered by Kosala shortly before the time of Buddha. As we found, the second important monarchical or the kingdom on the border of Kashi was the famous kingdom of Kosala, roughly corresponding to modern Awadh or Ayodhya. The Kosala kingdom contained a number of great cities like Sravasti, which was the capital, and Ayodhya, Sakyas, etc. The country was divided into north and south by river Saraju. According to the Puranas, the dynasty which ruled over the Kosalan kingdom descended from a famous king called Lichchavi, known to the epics. In the 6th century BC, the reigning monarch of Kosala was King Mahakosala of the Lichchavi dynasty. He was a powerful ruler, and the Kashi kingdom formed an integral part of his dominion. Prasannajit was his son and successor. Prasannajit became more powerful than his father. He was a great admirer of Buddha, and probably due to his Buddhist leanings, he was overthrown from power by a palace revolution headed by his son Videha. The latter ascended the throne after Prasannajit. The Kosala kingdom annexed the Kashi and the Sakya countries and ultimately became one of the 4 great kingdoms of North India. Kosala finally made a bid for supremacy over India by challenging the power of Magadha. And now we'll go to another important monarchical or kingdom of Anga, correspondence to modern East Bihar, Mongier, and Bhagalpur districts of Bihar, which with 2 principal rivers, the Champa and the Ganga, as its life-giving streams. The capital of the country was also named Champa or Malini. It was one of the 6 great cities of Buddhist India and a great center of trade and commerce. The merchants of Anga sailed up to distance up to Southeast Asia with their goods. The people of Chamba established colonies in Far East, some scholars suggest that immigrants from Chamba probably settled in Cochin or in China. The kingdom of Anga was engaged in a long rivalry with Magadha. It was finally conquered by Bimbisara of Magadha, who killed Brahmadatta, the king of Anga. Now we'll go to the next important kingdom or monarchy in 6th century BC, and that is Magadha. The kingdom of Magadha corresponds to modern Patna and Gaya district of Bihar, and its ancient capital was Rajagriha. It was a very prosperous country, famous for its wealth since the Vedic age. The river Ganga flowed through it. In the 6th century BC, according to Buddhist sources, the Aryanka dynasty ruled over the country. These Puranic sources suggest that Sasyunga dynasty ruled over Magadha in this period, but scholars take the Buddhist version as more authentic than the Puranic sources. Magadha was destined to outbid other rival kingdoms in the race for imperial supremacy of North India, and the next most important 6th century kingdom is the Chedi kingdom. The Chedis were one of the most ancient tribes of India and lived in various parts of India in various periods of history. In the 6th century BC, there have probably two principal settlements. One is in Bundelkhand and the other in Nepal. Then we'll go to the next important monarchical or kingdom in 6th century BC, that is the Bhasya country, was situated in the Allahabad region, or at present named as Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, with its capital at Kaushambi on the bank of the Jamuna. It was the home of the Kuru and Bharata tribes of Vedic fame. The capital of Bhasya was a very prosperous city with rich merchant houses. The Bhasya kingdom was famous for high quality cotton fabrics. King Udayan, the hero of many dramas, ruled over the country in the 6th century BC. He had a rivalry with neighboring kingdoms of Magadha and Avanti. He ultimately entered into matrimonial alliances with the kings of these two states. Udayan is said to also have conquered Kalinga. He embraced Buddhism under the influence of the monk Pindola. And now we'll go to another important kingdom, that is the kingdom of Avanti, which was one of the four great kingdoms of North India of the 6th century BC, consisted of modern Malwa and central provinces. It was divided into north and the south by river Bhetravati. The capital of the northern part of Avanti was Ujjaini, and that of south was Mahismati. In the 6th century BC, the throne of Avanti was occupied by King Chanda Pradyutta Mahasena. He was powerful king and he entered into rivalry with Bhasas, Magadha and Kosala. He gave his daughter in marriage to Udayan, the Bhasya king. The Avanti kingdom was ultimately conquered and annexed by the king of Magadha. And now we'll discuss about certain small kingdoms of 6th century BC. Such kingdoms like the Kurus, the Panchala, the Mahasya, the Sorosena, the Aspak, the Gandhara, and Kamboja. So these small kingdoms, the most notable were the Kuru ruling over Delhi, Panchala ruling over Rohilkhand and central Doab with the city of Aichandrad, or Masyas ruling over Jaipur, Sorosena ruling over Mathura, Aswakas in the neighborhood of Avanti, Gandhara were ruling over Peshawar, Rawalpindi and part of Kashmir with King Pugusati on its throne, and Kamboja in the extreme northwest in the Hazara district. And besides that, we found those autonomous clans such as, besides these monarchies that already we have discussed, developed in 6th century BC, there were some non-monarchical states with republican or oligarchical constitutions. They were called Ganas or Sanghas and had popular assemblies called Santagras and hereditary of elected presidents called Rajas. Among these republics, the Confederacy of Brij, that is, Brij is very important, conference under which are Videha, the Lichchavis, the Jantrikas, and also we found mention about Sakyas, Mallas, the Koreas, the Bhagas, and the Mauryas. So, in particularly, among the popular states' importance in the 6th century BC, mention may be made of the Sakyas of Nepal's Terai with Kapilavastu as capital. Gautam Buddha was born in the Sakya country. But politically, the Sakyas had no great power. Their country became a vassal of Kosala in the second half of the 6th century BC and was ultimately annexed to it. There were other republics or republican clans like the Mallas of Kushiner and Pava, the Kolias of Ramgram, lying to the east of the Sakya country and having some quarrel with them, the Bhagas near the Bhasya country, the Mauryas near Kushinagar. The republican states were not lagging in civilization. They became the birthplace of heterodox creeds like Buddhism and Jainism. This was possible probably due to the political freedom prevailing in these countries. Thus, in the 6th century BC, northern India was divided into numerous petty political units and ultimately became prey to the Magadhan imperialism. So in our next upcoming lecture, we'll discuss about the growth and development of empires, and in particular the Magadhan empires in India.